Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut. I laugh every time I hear myself say 3 a.m. Every day. I laugh when I hear myself say that. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I've had to restart this video. Seriously, I have had to restart it 10 times because I have a hard time saying 3 a.m. You guys have probably noticed this before. I've told you guys because of my previous addiction, I've got all false teeth, and it's hard for me to say 3 a.m. for some reason. Anyway, I'm out here extra early, and I'm going to talk about two things. I picked up 12 to 15 new subscribers just in the last day. And I'm going to talk about something that I feel that's very personal to me. Two things, two subjects. I'm going to go over them really briefly. If you've heard me talk about this before, I apologize. I sincerely apologize if you've heard this before. I'm sure some people have, but I need to talk about this. The Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Kimmel spat situation. Okay, I've seen it going on in the news for a few days now. I'll be honest with you guys. If you watch my channel, you know I couldn't give a flying Big Newton about sports. I am not a team player. I never have been. I've liked sports. In high school, I did track. I threw the javelin. I always felt like I was competing against myself. Skiing, skateboarding, surfing, biking. It's always beating myself. I'm not a team player. I know it's not cool to say that, but I'm not. I couldn't give a crap about team sports. But I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers, okay? I'll be honest with you guys. I see the picture of him, and he's grizzled. He looks older. He looks like he's in his 40s or whatever. I don't even know how old he is. And I didn't know who he was. I thought he was a coach. I thought he was probably the coach of a New York team. I know green and white is the Jets. I didn't even, pay attention. I'm like, this guy must be a coach, Aaron Rodgers. He's a quarterback. I know that much. Okay, so I see this whole thing pop up, in my heart, I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I've talked about this on my channel before. I'm sure there's people out there that as soon as they see me, they hear me talk, they just can't freaking stand me. I know there's people because I see the comments. There's people that watch my videos, and just every comment, it's like they watch my videos just because they can't stand anything. There's one guy that thinks everything I say is dishonest. Like I'm making everything up. Honestly, I tell you guys more than I think I've told anybody in my life. I call this my confessional. Anyway, getting back to the Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Kimmel thing. All right, so I started looking into this story, and I'll have the link down below. Aaron Rodgers just kind of came back because initially Aaron Rodgers, he's this nutcase conspiracy theorist. He thought the 2020 elections were stolen. He thought the whole COVID thing. He's an anti-vaxxer. I hope I can say that in a monetized video. And he's all concerned about the Jeffrey Epstein list, right? And I feel I'm going to get to that because I have a very personal stake in this whole thing, in the COVID thing and the Jeffrey Epstein thing. And I got a very, very personal, some stuff to talk about. So I see Aaron Rodgers, right? And he makes this hint that Jimmy Kimmel's must be all worried about the Jeffrey Epstein list. And and Jimmy Kimmel has nothing to do. He has nothing to do with this Jeffrey Epstein list. And these people that are all concerned, especially the right, they're all concerned about who's on the list, who's not on the list. Trump was never there, but Bill Clinton was there, and vice versa. Bill Clinton was never there, but Trump, and all this garbage. And it just ticks me off. And I have two very, very personal things that I went through that just make me so angry. These people that are all concerned about Jeffrey Epstein and what they call the G word, that when you groom, or the P word, I won't even say that one, what Jeffrey Epstein was. And I got a very personal stake in this. And Aaron Rodgers is an idiot. I believe in a lot of things. I believe there's a lot of secrets out there. I believe that there is UFOs. In my opinion, I think UFOs, it's more likely that they're from a different dimension or a different time. If time travel was invented, any time in the past or in the millions of years in the future, that means it's happening right now. If they can travel through time like a million years in the future, that means it's happening now. That means it's already happened. There is no time if there's time travel. You get what I'm saying? And dimensions. I've seen the U.S. government a couple of years ago admit that there's a good chance that there's different dimensions. And the whole thing with the spooky, the split screen experiment and all that. I have no doubt there's multiple universes and multiple dimensions and all that stuff. And that's my opinion, that the UFOs are more than likely, because the distances that it takes to travel, that it's more likely that this is interdimensional or intertime than space travel. But I'll leave that there. But Aaron Rodgers, I knew there was a reason I didn't like him, and this is why. So he's a COVID denier, and I apologize to the people that already saw this, but my ex-girlfriend, my soulmate, the person I was going to marry, this was my very first girlfriend in 3rd grade. And we got back together and lived together in our 50s. And she was an anti-vaxxer and a Trump supporter. And she refused to get the COVID shot and all that. This is her right here. This is her obituary. Audrey. All right. She refused to get the shot. I, on the other hand, got every single shot. I've gotten every single booster, too. These are all boosters. All right. She got COVID and passed away, hideously passed away by herself on August 5th, 2021. This is her obituary. And it was horrific the way she passed away from COVID-related pneumonia. And then on top of that, she got MRSA from the tape on her face being, in the hospital. It was a hideous, hideous way to go. Me, on the other hand, I got every vaccination. I am going to be 58 years old in a couple of weeks. And I literally bike 10 miles a day. And I walk 7 miles every day. And I work out and do pull-ups. I work out 4 hours every day for the last 17 years since I've been clean and sober. All right. And my heart, I just had a complete physical. My heart, I'm as strong as an ox. So this whole thing about, COVID, you're not going to convince me. This is bull. Because on top of that, I lost my aunt. My aunt with my same last name, my father's sister, passed away. She was a COVID denier. She's one of those people. And so I've lost 2 people very close to me. The person I love most in this entire world. This is Audrey right here. This is me and Audrey. She used to call me her little Indian boy. Because I'm Native American. All right. Anyway, so these people with this whole COVID vaccine nonsense, you're not going to convince me, because I've gotten every shot. And look at me, and look at my girlfriend, my soulmate, who is the COVID denier, right? So you're not going to convince me. Okay, now let's move on to Jeffrey Epstein. I knew there was a reason why these people that are so concerned about Jeffrey Epstein and who's on this list. Let's find out what rich person went to the island. What rich person, what politician hung out. I bet she was a Republican. I bet she was a Democrat. And this stuff is happening right in your house and right in your backyard. Most of the things that happen, the P word and the G word that I was just talking about, it happens with friends and family members that do this stuff. I know because it happened to me. Very quickly, my father passed away when I was 9 from terminal brain cancer. My mother started dating again when I was a couple of years later, when I was 11 years old. And she started dating a police officer. This police officer would come and check on us because we lived in the forest. He'd come and check on the widow. But little did I know that he was interested in my mother, and my mother started, she didn't realize what kind of person he was. And he was a good old Irish cop. Nothing against Irish people, but, a traditional Irish tough cop, Republican voter. I remember seeing all the PAC, Political Action Committee stickers. I didn't know what they meant back then. I remember asking him, what are those stickers? What are PAC? What's PAC? And he's Political Action Committee. I voted for Ronald Reagan, and he's got all his, he believes in guns and Republicans and all that stuff, right? And he pretended he'd be there for me. Daryl, I know your father passed away. I'll be there for you. I'll help you out. I'll help you get a car in the future. I'll help you fix your car, because I was only 11 years old. And he did the most hideous things to me that you could imagine. From the time I was 11 till the time I was 14. I didn't tell my family about this until I was almost 40 years old. I was 37 years old when I finally just blurted this out. You think of the worst things, the worst. And there's stuff that you can't even imagine that involved multiple people. Seriously. I was an 11-year-old boy. Multiple people. He brought multiple people in and did this stuff to me. All right? Everything you could imagine. The worst things you can imagine happened to me. And this is the thing. It's people like this, these predators. They're the most likely people that are predators are friends and family members. So while all these people like Aaron Rodgers are all concerned about Jeffrey Epstein and who's on this list and what rich person, what billionaire and millionaire and politician, it's happening in people's homes right now with people they don't expect. And it's my personal opinion that a lot of these people are trying to deflect from themselves. You know, that a lot of the biggest voices against talking about Jeffrey Epstein and who might be on the list, I think a lot of those people are deflecting, and they might actually be these people themselves, because I've seen what these people are like. And this guy, you would have never guessed, a good Irish cop, Republican voter, and he was doing the most ungodly things to me. So these are facts. I'll even say his name, Pat Butler from Watertown, Connecticut. He's dead now, thank God. And you know what? I'll tell you what I did on his grave after he passed away. Actually, I can't tell you. I'm sorry I got so upset in this video. So, like I said, I've got a very personal stake in both of these topics that Aaron Rodgers is so concerned about. COVID, I lost my soulmate. And the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. While these people are seeing who's on the list, it's happening. It's happening right in your own homes with people you'd never even suspect. Unfortunately, that is the truth. I'll put links down below. The most likely people to do this are friends and family members, not some billionaire politician on a freaking island somewhere. So maybe you should think a little less about Jeffrey Epstein and maybe you should think a little more what's going on in your own home if you're all concerned about Jeffrey Epstein. All right, I'll be back later. I apologize for getting so wound up. I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a good Wednesday.